are all new music, just about, in the, for today.
A lot of it was
You
new.
always do.
No, I don't.
I am merely
They're
the
picking on me.
expression.
One of them I sent out to her and I said, here are the words, here's the YouTube. I know you'll figure out the music because I don't have it. And she did. And that's the sign of a pro. Yes. Oh. The greatest of these is love. We're in a year of powerful living. Those of you who are here for our introduction with faith learned about all the powers that we're dealing with. And last month, we had faith, and you see the poster over there. You see there are two cards on there. The first one, the blue, is the affirmation for faith. And I want you to know that Vita's daughter, Journey, and her friend made all of these for us. So faith is the first one. Today, we're going to be talking about love. Very good. Then what we have, and these are all interrelated. Let's see if I can get them in order. We have, next month will be, what March comes in with like a lion and out like a lamb, is, what would that be? Strength. Good job. All right, you'd think I would know these by heart by now. And then we have, we're talking about powerful living. So we're going to be talking about power. As I hold these up, I want you to think also as we go through these, how they all interrelate. Because you can't have one without the other. After power, we're going to look at imagination. And then, where is it? It's in here. It's not in here. Anyway, we're going to be doing yes, there it is. Understanding. Because you have to understand how you're using your powers to use them effectively, right? Right. Okay. Oh, good. Somebody's agreeing with me. I like that, by the way. Is you ever go to a church where you're ready to go, yes, amen, I love it, and everybody around you's going. Did that once, Unity Church. I just come from Unity Church where we used to shout out at the minister, and I was used to that. And then I went to another one, and I was ready to go. And I looked down that aisle, and looked down, and they're all, I said, okay, not this one. Will, good job. And then we have what I'm going to bring to my house this afternoon. Order. Have you been over my house? And actually, I'll have you over. And then Charles Fillmore, remember about his 93rd year, he jumped, well, he didn't jump, but as he awoke, he wrote the affirmation, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Be impressed, I don't memorize many things, but I love that one. Then we have, oh gosh, we need to do this all the time, release. We have to release everything that's holding us back. And then we have life. Life, that's the final one. But today, there was a merchant, a salesman. I'm going to modernize this story. There was a salesman. He was so prosperous. He was triple digits many times over. First year 100,000, then 200, and then he was going at like $800,000 a year. That man had figured out the system. He was a widower. He had 3 beautiful daughters. And every time he would go on a sales trip, he would bring gifts home for the daughters. And one time he was just feeling mischievous, and they came to the door when he got home, and they're all waiting there for him, and yeah, yay, Dad, you're here. And he just, before he gave them the gifts, he thought, I'm just going to play with this. And so his eldest daughter, he said, before I give you the present, tell me, how much do you love me? She goes, oh, Dad, I love you more than all the jewels and gold in the world. She didn't even stop to think about that. She nailed it. And he laughed. He said, yay, and he gave her the gift. And then his middle daughter, he went up to her and he said, sweetie, how much do you love your dad? And she goes, oh, Dad, I love you more than all the boyfriends I've ever had and all the boyfriends I'll ever have in the future. And he goes, yes. And he gives her this present. And then his youngest daughter, Marion, he asks her, he says, sweetie, how much do you love your dad? She says, I can't answer that. Why can't you answer that? Simple question. She goes, well, Dad, I just love you. He says, well, how much? And she thought some more, and finally she said, Dad, I love you like meat loves salt. What are you talking about? That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. Here you've been my favorite. I've had it with you. You can go live out with your mother's sister. I don't want to see you ever again. And so Marion left, heartbroken. She loved her father. And her dad was heartbroken too, because this was his favorite child, and she loved him like meat loves salt. Well, the years went on, and what's happened in this country? We've had recessions, almost depressions. And basically, Dad lost everything. He lost the mansion that he had been living in. Fortunately for his daughters, the remaining two, they found good marriages. They had great careers of their own. So they were self-sufficient. He didn't have to worry about them. But he lost everything. So his oldest daughter said, okay, Dad, come on, you can come live with me. And so he did, with a few possessions that he still had and the keepsakes from his marriage, and memories of what once was. But that eldest daughter took what little that he had and she sold it and she spent it on herself. And I thought, well, she doesn't love me, I guess. So he went and lived with his second daughter. Well, the second daughter had married an up-and-coming politician. He had aspirations for the presidency. And he didn't like having this lowlife in his house. And Dad picked up on that energy very quickly. It was an embarrassment. So he moved out. He said, I'd rather live in a shack than put up with this. He had some dignity left. And he did. He found the shack on the edge of town. And, every day he would go down to St. Timothy's, where we feed the hungry on Saturdays, and he would get food there. But that was about all that he was able to eat. He was one of the people standing out on the corner, we'll work for food. And people, cursed him as they drove by. Well, his youngest daughter, who ended up in public schools, she actually found someone that she loved dearly. And he lived in Beverly Hills. So she moved from Vegas to Beverly Hills to be, with her husband. And she also, she put herself through law school. She was a successful attorney. She had it made. But her aunt, who she had lived with when she was banished from the house, found out about what was going on with Dad and wrote her. And Marion went to her husband, she says, I can't leave Dad living in a shack out the edge of town in Las Vegas. I want to bring him home with me. Is that all right with you? And her husband said, but of course, that's exactly what we do for family. So she hopped into the Bentley, drove from Beverly Hills to Las Vegas. Like I said, I upgraded it. And she found the shack where her father lived. And went by and went to the grocery store because she saw that there was really nothing there. And she came back and knocked on the door. Well, her dad, just living in those conditions for so long, his health was failing. And he couldn't see so well. And when he answered the door, and he was hunched over because he had just lost it all, including his feelings of self-worth. And he didn't recognize her. It had been so long. And she said, you know, hi, I heard that you were having hard times. And, you know, I had extra food, so I wanted to bring it to you. Is that all right? And he said, yes, come on in, because he was hungry. He hadn't made it to St. Tim's that day. So she went in, she busied herself over the little kerosene stove and everything, and managed to make a presentable meal. And she brought it and she set it down in front of her father. And he started to eat. And he stopped at one point and he said, you know, I really appreciate that you came to feed me. You're so kind. But I'm wondering, is there something wrong with this meat? And she chuckled. She goes, well, no, there's nothing wrong with the meat. It's simply that I didn't put any seasoning on it. It has no salt. And he goes, it's not the same without the salt. I didn't realize that. She goes, yeah. See, the meat, the salt brings out the flavor. So the meat is incomplete without the salt. And that stirred a memory for him. And he started to cry. He said, you know, my youngest daughter, she once told me that she loved me like meat loves salt. And I didn't understand, and now it's too late. So she took her father's face in her hands. She goes, Dad, it's me. And I still love you like meat loves salt. Kind of a strange love story, isn't it? You were thinking because it's February and we're talking about love, maybe flowers, candy. Yeah. Isn't that what we do for Valentine's Day? That's next Sunday. We do these things for each other. Yeah, here, yeah. And then people feel left out if they don't get anything. But what kind of love do you want? And when we're talking about the power of love, do you think we're talking about the flowers and candy? No. We're talking about the meat loves salt kind of love. In Galatians we read, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, or agape love. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. There's no law against love. And what's interesting is when you think about love, it really is an attraction factor. When you love something, what do you see? Do you get more of it? We talk about gratitude and appreciation. In a way, that's love. That's love for what's showing up in your life. And it is very much an attraction factor. We think of it in terms of, yes, it's bringing us good and wonderfulness when we talk about love attracting. But heard the expression misery loves company? It's an attraction for also the people that have gotten into that mindset where they love their misery. Or they love being lost. I wasn't quite sure yesterday when we were offering the food at St. Tim's, and part of my prayer, I got a 3-minute sermon in. Ain't going to happen here, by the way, but I got a 3-minute sermon in with a prayer. And I said, you know, where do you see yourself in 6 months? I talk about 18 months or 3 years, because you're in a place where you can think that far ahead. And I thought, well, that might be too much of a stretch for these folks that are coming in because they don't have the money, the sustenance to feed themselves. So just 6 months, I thought maybe that would work. And I went to a few of the tables afterward, and I asked, you know, what do you see for yourself in 6 months? And several people had a vision for themselves. One gentleman, he saw himself back in Chicago, back there with his mother who has Alzheimer's and is declining. He wants to be with her. So he saw that he could be back there and supporting her and have his own apartment and so on. So he had a vision. And I went to one table and I asked this couple, and they said, well, we don't have any dreams. And so the one gentleman, he was starting to fall in love with his vision for himself, for his dream. And then the other table, they had nothing. That they couldn't even think of anything that they would love to see for themselves in 6 months. I said, well, what do you want today? He said, we just want to get by. So at a certain level, they were loving, I just want to get by. Does that make sense to you? Love is principle. You know, that's what we're talking about when we talk about the 12 powers. We're talking about principle. We're talking about universal law. And Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, says that love in divine mind is the idea of universal unity. In expression, it is the power that joins and binds together the universe and everything in it. Love is a harmonizing, constructive power. Love is that mighty power, that divine quality of God that is expressing through all mankind and cannot be suppressed by any outside force. Do you believe that? Do you really believe it? Yes. She does. Ray Wilson's going to be addressing the, oh gosh, I just blocked it out. United Nations about love. That's her vision. Do you love that vision? Yes. Yes. All right? That's what she's going to do. And I'm going to say, I knew Ray Wilson when she first came up with that vision. And so I know the power of having that dream. And in every moment, see, what Ray knows is that when she gets up in the morning, to be that person that is presenting in front of the United Nations on love and touching their hearts in such a way that they see they don't have to bomb each other. They see that they don't have to have their border disputes. They see that there is another way to interact between nations and between people. Every morning when she gets up, see that this could be tomorrow because everybody's watching this video and they're going to see it, Ray. Yes. And you're going to be getting a call. All right, but every morning when Ray gets up, it's with the thought, okay, what would the person who is presenting to the United Nations thinking right now? What is that person saying in every interaction? And what is that person doing? She's doing it now. I know that because I've had the honor and privilege of getting to know Ray Go talk to her. And you'll feel the love. She is what her dream is. She loves her dream. And so that is what she is attracting. You get it? It is so powerful. Last month I talked about faith being a foundation because we do need faith. And faith goes beyond hope. To me, hope is something, out there. And maybe, but faith is grounded for me. And then you build upon that. So I have faith that this is going to happen in my life. Yes. And then I love the idea. I love myself enough to do what it takes to bring that into physical reality. Course in Miracles states that there are only two emotions, love and fear. It says that love is our natural inheritance. Fear is something we manufacture. Yeah? Makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah, fear, false evidence appearing real. Now sometimes, yes, be cautious. When you go to the cave opening and you're looking out for the saber-toothed tiger, yeah, be cautious. And we have some saber-toothed tigers in our lives, but mostly we make it up. And if we could simply focus on love, it would transform every other emotion. Charles Filmer again, he puts it beautifully when he says, any unloving condition of the world is no bar to my exercise of love. In fact, it is an incentive. All right, so nothing that's going on around us should keep us from loving. 9/11, as a nation, consciousness, we became unloving. Did you notice that? Not every individual. So if you're sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, I didn't do that, because I didn't. I personally, Sophia Falke, did not go there. Because I saw what was happening. And I knew that with the power of love, we could have transformed that situation. We'd have a whole different today if we had done that yesterday. But we became a nation of fear, and that was purposeful. Our leaders wanted us to go into fear because they wanted retribution. They wanted the Old Testament eye for an eye. Rather than love. Can you imagine if we got into a place of love? How different today would be. Unity talks about thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Have you heard that expression? Mm-hmm. Notice how it says thoughts held in mind. You have to hold on to them for them to be destructive. Because if you're like me, you've got this monkey mind. These thoughts are going from limb to limb to limb all the time. And some of them are, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Who am I to think? Going through the whole thing. But I don't hold on to those thoughts. Those are, oh, I don't need you, because my vision that I love is for something greater. That's the thought I'm holding in mind. That's the focus. That's what's going to attract to me. And that's what Unity's been teaching for over 100 years. When The Secret came out, who saw The Secret? Yeah, or read the book, the equivalent, yes. If you have, if you haven't, find it. Rent it. I'm sure it's in the library, Netflix, whatever. Watch The Secret. It's very powerful, and it introduced to our country really a new consciousness for many people because they never heard of law of attraction. They never heard about focusing on what you want, and you can attract it into your life. And if you don't like what's in your life, focus on something different. If you want to know who's responsible for what's going on, look in the mirror. look good today, don't I? So the law of attraction, we've been talking about this for over 150 years. And love is probably the strongest attraction factor that you can have in your life. And it's wonderful how we have a month where we focus on it. I know all the, vendors, everybody's selling chocolate and cards and flowers, look at it as a money-making experience. I look at it as fun and an opportunity for us to refocus our attention. Imagine what every one of us, what is it, about 40, 45 of us today? Imagine if we focused on love. For the rest of the day, every time your thought goes to something other than love, pull it back and focus on love. Do you think maybe your week would be much different than if you did your usual kind of unconscious? Now, I know some of you are sitting there, I'm very conscious. But, so, I'm not talking to you. But if today, the whole day, focus on love. Everything you do. Bring to mind the vision that you want and say, yes, I love this. This is what I'd love for my life. So when your thoughts go to something else, say, no. If this is what I love, that's not what I'm going to be thinking. And certainly what you're saying, that takes your thoughts and really messes things up if they're negative. But everything you say to be loving and supportive. Even when somebody's driving you crazy or a situation's driving you crazy, surround it in love. And watch it transform. And then the actions. What's some loving action you can do today? Is there someone you haven't spoken to in a long time? I have somebody who's been on my mind all week. I know I have to call. I just have to remember before it's too late in the Eastern time zone. Okay? But it's just been on my mind. So I have to make that phone call because that's the loving thing to do. To ignore that calling, that voice that is telling me to make the call, is not loving. Perhaps we would experience the love that, as Charles Fillmore says, sees any unloving condition of the world not as a bar to our exercise of love, but rather as an incentive to practice more love. Yeah? Let's do the next slide. So this month, we are giving you an affirmation card. Pink. They'll come around, by the way, in the offering basket. So as you give, you will receive. Do you love that? It's a cycle. Yeah, it's so good. The power for, no, what is it? Oops, typo. February. How did that get up there? That's my birth month, so gotta love that, right? I have no idea who put that up there. Probably Alex messed with it or something, yeah.
I'll take the bullet.
We'll fix that for next month, or next week rather. Anyway, love, the power for February. The ability to attract, unify, and desire. Okay? The disciple is John. Remember when Jesus called the disciples together and he spoke to them, what did he say to John? You're the one I love the most, so he's the disciple for love. The body area is back of the heart. That makes sense. Some people think that that's actually where our consciousness lies. Stone is garnet, and the color is, guess what? Pink. I'll tell you, I was hard-pressed to find pink in my wardrobe. And I have until October to find orange, you know. Anyway, so it's just kind of fun, not, to focus on that. And then, your affirmation is, I am a radiating center of love. So let's say that together. I am a radiating center of love. That's short and sweet. You can memorize that one. If I can memorize zeal and enthusiasm one, you can memorize I am a radiating center of love. And wear that this entire month. Wear it this entire month and see how your life is transformed. And because it's leap year, you have one more day to practice. Okay? Up here on the stage, in addition to the posters, you'll see there's a yellow sheet that has the 12 powers on it. I invite you to take one of these also. And it talks about when you're balanced in that power. So for love, if you're balanced, it says you harmonize, unify, you desire, attract to oneself, and feel affection for. That's when it's balanced. Those are the emotions that are going on in you with regard to love. And underdeveloped, no desire, disharmony, separating, cold, dissonance, conflict, and chaos. Know anybody who's on that side? Ever feel that way yourself sometimes? Oh, yeah. Oh. But to be aware, then you can catch yourself. And you can come into the balanced place. Now, when it's overdeveloped, know anybody there? I'm going to read this. Vita, you'll like this. That Vita.
Okay.
Yeah, you might too. Lust, craving, needy, longing, covetous. In your business, do you run into that, Vita? Yeah. Show business. You know people like that. Once in a while, you are that people. All right, so take this with you, and then this helps you also to monitor yourself. Where am I? So let's take a few moments now. I'm going to go straight into the meditation and focus on love. What does that look like in your life? What does that feel like? So sit back in your chair, relax, breathing deeply, breathing in that life-giving oxygen. Release any distress you might be feeling in your body, any dis-ease. Breathing in the healing light and love of God. Filling every cell and tissue of your body, restoring you to wholeness. And as you breathe out again, release any thoughts that have been disturbing you. And on the inhale, bring in the love of God, the love of the Christ. And again, continue breathing deeply just to relax your body, oxygenate your body, your brain. This is something to do every day. And feel the peace and the love as your thoughts and body release and relax. Feel the peace as you make room in your mind for the power and presence of God's love. Divine love. And centering in divine love, I invite you to bring to mind a situation, a relationship in your life. It can be something challenging or something going well. Whichever it is, go within to discover how you can transform that situation or relationship through divine love. if it is something that is going well, focusing your love and attracting more to you of that which you love. And if it's something distressful, remember what Charles Fillmore said. That is not a bar to your exercise of love, but rather an incentive to practice love more. If it's a relationship or something that is challenging, also see how both you and others involved will be blessed and infused with new hope and a sense of possibility. And now let us all affirm, I open my heart, and love flows throughout my whole being and blesses each person and each situation I meet. I open my heart, and love flows throughout my whole being and blesses each person and situation I meet. Remember, in all things, you are a blessing and you are blessed. You are loved. You are loving. You are love. You are divine love expressing in this world. And as you return to this time and this place, draw forth that love and delight that you truly are as a demonstration of God. And radiate it to fill this room and bless everyone within these sanctuary walls. And let us take that love and light down the hallway to bless our children and their teachers. And we send that love and light out beyond Unity Center in the Valley to bless Las Vegas, knowing that this is Spirit City. And we continue sending our love and light out to bless our nation and going beyond all natural and man-made barriers to bless our world. Where there is darkness, hatred, fear, anger, despair, frustration, we shine our light and radiate our love. And you are so powerful. Know that each one of you has raised the vibration for another on this globe. So where they felt hopeless, they now see hope. Where they have experienced fear and anger, they now see that there's the opportunity for love. You did that. And you do that every moment, that you radiate this love and light. So I invite you at every morning and every evening to take a few moments, as we do now, calling upon the divine love and light that is God, and radiate it out to bless someone in this world. And thus we are transforming the world, one thought, one word, one action at a time. Know that we are blessed in all things. And let us affirm that with our ending song, Blessed Always.